Okay, I'm back with another video. This video is going to go over the question, should I refinance when rates go down, right? So, right now the interest rate, interest rate environment as of the recording of this video, most 30-year mortgages are somewhere in the high sixes to low eights. Somewhere in that range is where most of the private money 30-year mortgages are falling. Obviously, credit, LTV, all that stuff can change that. But what a lot of investors are concerned about is like, okay, if I get into a loan now, can I refinance when the rates go down? And the answer is not always yes, and the answer is not always no. It really depends. There are some, less than ethical people out there that'll tell you, yeah, go ahead and do it. I'm ready to do it. I like to take a logical approach to that question, and so we're going to do that in this video. All right, I don't know if I just paused that, but we'll cut that out. So let's say you have a $250,000 loan amount and your current interest rate is 7.99, just throwing it out there for exaggeration purposes. And let's say it is 2026 and the interest rates are now 6, okay? So things you're going to have to take into account. First of all, what is your plan for the property? Are you going to keep the property or are you going to get rid of it within 3 to 5 years? And I'll tell you why that matters in a minute. If this is for the long haul and you're going to keep it and pay the mortgage down to zero, it probably makes sense to save all that money on interest. But most people are not doing that. So really you kind of got to know what your plan is to determine if this investment, which is really just going through another closing, paying a closing cost again, if that makes sense. So let's take the hypothetical of it. We'll take an 8% interest rate. Now there's 6 in 2026. You're doing a 30-year term and it's going to cost you $5,000 to refinance the loan. Okay, so obviously you know what your current monthly cash flow is, and this is not including, it is including monthly expenses, right? So you'd have that on there. New monthly cash flow with the lower rate, so you're getting a nice bump, right? You're getting a decent bump when you refinance. However, the ROI, so the cost you're taking to refinance it, you're getting a good rate of return on that, and your break-even period, meaning like the time to recover the closing costs with your added cash flows, 15 months. So this seems like a good deal, right? It's not going to take you long to recuperate. What if the hypothetical was different? Let's say our rate was 7 and we want to refinance to 6. You see that the numbers change dramatically. It's almost, it is twice as long to recover those closing costs. So it's over 2 years of time to get back what you paid. Again, if you're going to keep the property long term, this question is kind of moot because you're going to recover the costs and then some, and you're going to pay down the principal. Really what comes into play is when someone has an exit strategy of exiting a rental in 3 to 5 years, you need to run this analysis. Again, we can kind of tighten up the numbers here. You see, right, like every half a point, we're seeing a haircut of the ROI and a drastic increase in the amount of time it takes to recover the investment. Again, when we're talking about investment, we're talking about the cost to refinance the loan. Obviously the long-term benefits are saving interest, so that's not really what's at play here. It's really determining what your exit strategy is for this property to see if that refinance makes sense. So you can get this calculator at refinancinglooncalculator, all one word, .com. You can use this for free, play around with it. I send this link out when investors go, hey, can I refinance in a year or whatever? First of all, I don't usually answer that question because I don't know what rates are going to be and I don't want to be slimy and committal to something I can't guarantee. I tell people to go here, look at the facts and the numbers, and then determine if refinancing makes sense for you. Use realistic numbers, always conservatively underwrite. And if you have any questions or want to get a financing quote from us, you can click the button there or go to privatemoneyquote.com.